Okay? If that's one thing I want to get over, don't stand for bullshit. Hello and welcome to Grumpy Old Crone with me, Annie, where I will be whinging for about half an hour, give or take, about things that don't matter very much in the pagan and witchcraft community. So thank you for coming along. First thing I should say is happy birthday to us, because YouTube reminded me that it's been a year since I uploaded my very first video, which, if you've seen my channel introduction, does indeed look like it was recorded on a potato, so I can only apologise and say I really ought to get around to re-recording that, but I don't have time right now. So anyway, and I've had a year of really steep learning curves, learning how to do this, then learning again how to do it my way, yeah, we're still here. I honestly thought when I started out that there would be me and maybe 4 friends watching it, and after 2 weeks I'd get bored and stop, but that has not been the case. So we're all here marching our merry way past 17,000 subscribers, for which I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you everybody who's ever pressed subscribe. It's just thank you. I've never bought likes, I've never bought subscriptions, subscribers, so it's all entirely organic, because I think that's the honest thing to do, and I'm really, really grateful. It means I don't grow quite as quickly as some channels, but you know, who cares? I'm having fun, and that's the main thing. And I've got loads of plans for what's going to happen in the future. I do have a super secret plan that I'm not telling anybody yet. There's one person who knows this, and her name is Carol, from New York State, who discovered it by accident. Well done, Carol. Please don't tell anybody else. I don't know how you found it. Your Google skills are astonishing, but don't tell anybody else. So yeah, that's a thing that I had promised myself I'd do if I got to a year and I was still enthusiastic, and I'm here and it's been a year and I'm bloody loving it. So I've got no intentions of stopping. I'm going to carry on. So maybe I will get around in the next few months to getting my super secret project sorted out. I don't know. We'll see. Keep tuned and we'll find out. But until then, we're going to talk about witchy aesthetic. So if you are part of my Patreon, on the absolutely fuming level, you will have found that last time round I tend to do 1 to 2 drops of Patreon editions per month, but the last time round, my absolutely fuming level of Patreon membership, I had too much fun naming those, got a review of the English Magic Tarot, because tarot is one of those things that people always ask for more of. So I did that, and I started filming that, and I realised when I was filming that I did not have the ideal tarot setup, and it drove me slightly bonkers trying to get tripods and lights and not shadows and mad making. But I got round to it and I got it done, and if it taught me one thing, it taught me that I needed a slightly different setup, and what I needed was like a tiny tarot nook in order to be able to film overhead. I don't know why this is overhead, but it is now, so I can only apologise. So, filming overhead. I won't bore you with all of the kind of like overhead camera angle, like blah, 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 because it is quite tedious, but I decided what I needed was a teeny tiny little desk, and I have spent the last week and a half hunting all over the internet for a very specific type of teeny tiny desk, and I finally found it, and I had to get it couriered here because it came from, I mean, I know if you're in America you will think nowhere in England is very far away, but in England this was quite far away because it was down in Devon, which is a very, very long way for me, and I got that shipped up here, and I have got now, let's see, look at that, isn't that the cutest little desk? So what I'm going to do later on is during my positive bit at the end, I'm going to set that up with all of my tarot decks and what have you, and start making it looking a little bit aesthetically better than it already does, but I'm really, really happy with it. It's like an arts and crafts late Victorian student pull down bureau. and it's about, I don't know, about 120, 130 years old, something like that, which is perfect because that's the same age as the house that I live in. So it's the kind of thing that the people who lived here originally would have had in their rooms, and that makes me really kind of happy. I like that a lot. So later on I'm going to bring up all of my tarot decks, get it all stacked out, show you around it. It probably won't all happen at once because in my experience these things take a little while and you've changed things up and what have you, but we'll make a start on it today and we'll see how all of that works out. So that's going to be my witchy aesthetic, setting up my tarot desk. Quite excited about that. But until then, we are going to go to meat and 2 potatoes. Right, so I have started this and stopped it so many times because it kind of feels difficult to write and to talk without being a judgmental arse. And then I realised that actually, well, that's kind of my brand, isn't it, being a judgmental arse? So actually it's probably okay. So what do I want to talk to you about today? Well, it's a lot of things all kind of like muddled together, mixed up in a plastic cauldron by somebody who's wearing too much ghost merch and an overinflated sense of their own magical capabilities. Because yes, I have given up taking the higher ground and am indeed punching down, and I can only apologise for that, but it was inevitable. It was going to happen. Yes, because today I'm going to be looking at online witchy spaces. Oh man. Right. I'll preface this by saying how incredibly grateful I am that you're all here. Because for the longest time, I didn't really understand why. Because I kind of think that my USP is slightly overweight middle-aged woman shouts at pagan clouds, really. But you're all kind of here. And often while I'm, drinking a cup of tea or making a cottage pie, I will posit to Mr. Grumpy Old Crone, why the hell do people bother to give me a half hour of their time every week? I really don't understand it sometimes. And he always says the same thing. And what he says is because nobody questions the bullshit and somebody needs to. And kind of that's what I'm doing, is questioning the bullshit. Middle age brings many gifts. An inability to go to sleep when you're meant to. An ability to go to sleep at points where you're really not meant to. Dodgy knees, eyes that are both somehow miraculously short and long-sighted at the same time, a need to go to the toilet quite a lot, and an overwhelming familiarity of the route between your bed and the toilet at 3 a.m. I find are all things that it gives you, but also what it gave to me, and the thing for which I am incredibly grateful, is an extremely accurate and reactive bullshit detector. Along with my why can't I push that button that says do not push problem, I will say that this bullshit detector ensures that I spend a lot of my time online shouting at the computer. And in fact, I do own a Chromebook rather than an expensive Mac laptop, purely because, and I'm not actually joking about this, purely because if I get too angry and I throw it across the room, it only costs me 150 quid as opposed to 3,000 quid. So I'm pleased to say though, it's still in one working piece. I haven't thrown it across the room yet, but the temptation has been very, very real on more than one occasion. So I'm saying this because, well, nobody else appears to be doing it. Everybody else is just so kind and so lovely. And generally, WitchTube is the nicest, kindest place that you can find. And I realise that's probably because I have honed my algorithm interaction to the point where what it gives me are people like Hearth Witch and Ari the Oak Witch and Ivy Corvus and Arith Hager. Those are the kind of creators that I watch and that I get delivered to me, and that's great. which means I don't get a lot of the other bollocks. But every now and again, YouTube does that thing. You know that thing that YouTube does? You're there watching your carefully curated algorithmic list, and then all of a sudden it puts in Play-Doh flowers for beginners or something. I don't know. But it'll throw something in that you think, what the hell is that? And then you watch it. Why do we watch it? I don't know, but we do. Now, if they're particularly bad, I'm slightly ashamed to say I will often subscribe and like when I've had a bad day. I will watch it and have a little bit of a laugh or possibly a scream because, you know, that's kind of how I work. That's a terrible thing to admit, isn't it? Sorry. Some of them are completely harmless, and some of them, the cheek of it, it literally takes my breath away sometimes. Some of them obviously don't have the first idea about what they're doing, and more to the point, are very happy to charge other people who have no idea what they're doing good money so that they can both do nothing of any point and power together. Why would you pay somebody who obviously doesn't know what they're doing? I don't get it. These people will offer to sell you the secrets of their esoteric craft, although I would like to say I don't actually think many of them can spell the word esoteric, let alone do anything like it. One person, who I am not going to name because they are probably a nice person, they probably help old ladies across the road and call their mum on a regular basis, probably. But yeah, close friends will know who this is. I guarantee that Alex Bear and Sarah will know who this is because we might have found the same creator together. But I'm going to read you something here because they featured a video which, once again, I'm going to call something slightly different so that you can't just do a YouTube search and find it, because honestly they probably do help little old ladies across the road. But they had a video about something like essential tools and supplies for witches. Okay, now I thought that sounded quite interesting. I wondered what somebody else's practice was like, and I opened it and I had a look, and there was my first mistake. So if you'll forgive me, because obviously I don't use a teleprompter, so I do have my pieces of paper. So I need to read this to you. So their essential tools and supplies for witches were 2 chemical beakers filled with differently coloured soap, some crystals. They didn't know what the crystals were, and they did say that they didn't actually believe the crystals had any power, but some crystals. For what it's worth, they were clear quartz. A candle in a super delicate hand-blown martini glass. Now, I don't know about you, but martini glasses in the UK are not made to withstand boiling wax. So that one was going to shatter within about 2 minutes of being lit, but you know, hey ho, here we go. Oh, and a candle that had runes on it. And their explanation of what runes were was, it's something like a mystical sign. They didn't know what any of the runes on this candle meant, though. This one I particularly liked. Embroidery scissors and a letter opener. At no point, because I thought letter opener, as I imagine many of you right now are going straight to the concept of letter opener, maybe it's an athame. You know, they're using, because all you need for an athame is a blade. It could be wood, it could be metal, blah, 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 depending on your tradition. It can be made of different things. A letter opener would be a fine athame. No, it was not. It was just because it looked a little bit like a knife, and I've still got no clue what the embroidery scissors were for, although they did say they are very important to the craft. You know, I've been practicing for nearly 40 years. I've never used a pair of embroidery scissors in my craft yet. Well, in general craft, if I'm doing embroidery, very helpful, very useful in that craft. I don't know, maybe trimming a wick, maybe, I don't know, but just no. Onwards, another vital piece of equipment for witches was a Harry Potter mug in which to keep your car keys and trinkets. a ceramic hand for keeping your rings on, and magical oil brought from a punk rock shop, which they appeared to wear as perfume rather than using it in any kind of anointing purposes, as you normally would a magical oil. But, you know, hey-ho. Empty wine bottles. Empty wine bottles are these essential magical... and then finally, big chunky candlesticks. Not to put the candles on, though. Interestingly, it was to hold up decor. So that was this particular creator's idea of the most essential items with which to start being a witch. I'm still, frankly, bewildered by almost all of that. None of it more than 2 chemical beakers full of differently coloured soap. No idea there. I've never used differently coloured soap in my ritual, but, you know, maybe I've been going wrong all these years. Who knows? This is also the same channel that featured a protection spell in which they took their Harry Potter mug, then put some generic lotion in it, and then put some Epsom salts into it, and stirred it up and rubbed salty lotion on their feet, and then wrote their name on a piece of paper and burned it. And they said that this was a protection spell. You've got salty feet, and you've just burned your own name. But at the end of the day, even if they are quite sweet and they do help little old ladies across the road, they don't know what they're talking about. And it's very obvious that they don't know what they're talking about. And I can hear out there right now, there are some people going, ooh, and they're starting to bristle. And they're going to say things like, but it's all about intention. It doesn't matter what herbs you use. It doesn't matter what words you use. It doesn't matter what order you put them together or what day you do it on or what the planetary alignment is. None of that matters. All that matters is intention. And that is a whole lot of words for, I can't be bothered to get it right. Yeah? See where I'm coming from? Sometimes there is a right and there is a wrong. And these people can't be bothered to find out which is which. Because it's all about intention is just another way of saying there's no such thing as witchcraft. It's all manifestation. And I believe I've ranted about manifestation before. I don't have a problem with manifestation as part of witchcraft, but it is not something that you can substitute for it. There seems to be this weirdly popular thing whereby people are prepared to poo-poo witchcraft but say that manifestation is 100%. And I don't know why it's more popular to think that wishing for something is more likely to get you something than working with energies and try to nudge the universe in the general direction that you want it to go. I don't understand that. The two can be allied, but you can't just throw one out. You can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and completely replace it with manifestation. That doesn't work. What we end up with is witchcraft is just believing and wishing really, really hard with props and an aesthetic. Look, I'm a witch. and you know, I just find that really offensive because at the end of the day, witchcraft does mean something. There's this history, there's this tradition. We are following in the paths of people who have been doing this since before Jesus Christ was born. And if you're in any doubt, hold on, I looked it up. First book of Samuel, chapter 28, if I got it right. That's where we've been going from. The Old Testament, long before Jesus. Get it right. Have some respect for the shoulders of the giants that you're standing on. There is so much bullshittery out there at the moment, and the more we allow it to stand, the more we allow people to laugh and point at us and demean us and make us less. The fear of that keeps many of us in the broom closet, or it teaches us that things simply don't work and they're just being peddled because the aesthetics are nice. So yeah, I'm calling out that bullshit. And whilst I don't want to hold up individual creators for ridicule and being taken apart by the internet, because God's only know there's enough of that out there, and I want no part of that. We do not take people apart. But we can take their practice apart, and we can pull it apart. We can look at it and go, why? Why have you done that? And why do you believe that that works? Because as anybody who's been watching me for a while knows, why is, as far as I'm concerned, the most important word in witchcraft. Don't stand for bullshit. Okay? If that's one thing I want to get over, don't stand for bullshit. Anyway, enough of the whinging. We're now going to move on to the positive bit. Here comes the positive bit. Hello and welcome back to the positive bit. Here's my desk. Arts and crafts. I reckon kind of 1890 or so at a guess. I could be wrong, I don't know. I've polished it a little bit. I've done a little bit of repair work around here, and I will say that this pulls down nicely here. Mr. Grumpy Old Crone has replaced the leather here. It still sticks up a little bit at the edges, but I'm hoping that'll come down with time. And I've got all of these lovely little niches in here to put things, which I am quite excited about. I'm hoping that like decks of cards might fit in a couple of these. We will see how we go. So I'm going to shut that for the time being, because what I want to do is look at putting this pile of tarot I currently have down here onto these shelves, and we will see how we go. So first up, I've got a whole load of tarot that kind of come in like the presentation boxes, so I'm going to stick all of these on here. So first of all, I've got Tarot Tales, which is quite fairy tale-esque. I'm going to put that there. The Witch Sister, which I actually YouTubed about wanting to not succumb to buying, and I failed. So that's going to go on there. It's glorious. I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. Anybody who knows me will know that I'm a sucker for Robin Hood stuff, and particularly Robin of Sherwood themed stuff. So the next two items are both by Mark Ryan, who was Nazir in Robin of Sherwood and is now a tarot scholar. What a path. He's also the voice of Bumblebee in Transformers, so it's really a path. But his work is amazing. So I've got the Wildwood Tarot, which is a Will Worthington artwork, and I've got the Sherwood Oracle, which I bought recently. I've spent zero time with. I really ought to. And the artwork is by Anne Yvonne Gilbert there, and Mark Ryan works with John Matthews on both of these, so that will go there. Those are glorious. Now I'm going to use the word glorious too much again, aren't I? You can tell it's going to be one of those. I'm also a huge Brian and Wendy Froud fan. They were the designers and artists behind films like The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. My house is full of Brian's artwork. And so when these oracles came out, absolutely I was going to get them. So I have got the Fairies Oracle, and I have got the Heart of Fairy Oracle, which is quite difficult to come by now. And I got this by swapping it with a friend for some Heilung tickets. Seems entirely appropriate. So that's there. Because in my time off, I am in fact a steampunk. Inevitably, if you're a member of a subculture or a fandom, people will buy you a tarot deck around it. So I have got the steampunk tarot. So there's that. And then, I know I'm conflicted about this one. Barbara Moore's Book of Shadows Tarot. You get two complete sets of tarot in here. One of them quite down to earth, a bit like Deborah Blake's Everyday Witch, which I have somewhere else here. And the other one a bit more esoteric. I don't know, I just can't really gel with either of them. I don't know if I'm going to keep this one or not. This one might need to go on to another home. We will see. So that will go in there. And then we've got the Celtic Tree Oracle, which is like my oldest card divination system and was bought for me when I was a teenager by a friend who's passed on now, whose name was Richard. So yeah, I'm going to keep that. I love it. Somehow I managed to avoid that one getting burnt by the unpleasant vicar who burnt my tarot cards. So that has a special place in my heart, and that will go there, which fits beautifully. Look at that. That does fit quite well. Whether the rest of it's going to fit quite well or not is another question. So I have got a whole lot of things in other boxes, or like smaller boxes, or in wooden boxes that I have repurposed. So we'll start here. So I've got 3 boxes, much the same, because they are all by the same artist, who is Tomahio. I've probably said that incorrectly, so I apologise, Toma. So I've got the Dark Crystal Tarot, once again reference, love Brian Froud. I've got the Lord of the Rings Tarot, I'm such a Lotra nerd. And Tarot del Toro, I'm also a bit of a horror fan, and I love Guillermo del Toro. So those 3, all by Titan Books, they can all go there, and they look quite good together. And then what have we got that will go on top of those? Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, let's start here. So I have got like about 99% of tarot readers the world over now, it seems. I have got the Light Seers Tarot. It's so popular because it is really good, and I do use it quite a lot, but the popularity of it has meant that I'm slightly less of a fan of it than I was, but I don't know, that's probably not fair. So, but that can go on there anyway. And I bought myself a little while back Jessica Rue's Woodland Wardens deck, which is an oracle deck and is really sweet and has very nice artwork. So I'm going to pop that one up there. Oh, we're doing quite well actually, space wise. Right, what else have we got around here? Oh, now you see, this is a good one. I bought myself the Runic Tarot, and I've got to say, I'm not that keen on it. I think I might have wasted my money on that one. It just hasn't gelled for me. I'm going to keep it in there for now, but I don't love it. I really don't, and I'm sorry about that. However, what I do love is the Tarot of the Abyss. It's a black and white one that I bought while I was waiting for something else that's kind of like my ultimate tarot to finally turn up. So I do love that. It's all kind of monochrome pen and ink, and I love the imagery in it. It's beautiful. What else have we got that's still in original boxes? We have got The Rooted Woman Oracle by Sharon Blackie, who was the author of Hagitude. If you are a middle-aged woman and you have not read Hagitude by Sharon Blackie, I really recommend it. It's a great flipping book. It's very, very good. So I'm going to put that there. I have got the Enchanted Lenormand by Caitlin Matthews and Virginia Lee. And I have not done anything with this, and I should, particularly as Lisa Papez is currently doing a Lenormand run through on her channel, and I love literally everything she does. So maybe I'm going to put this to one side so that I can remember to work with that slightly more often, I think. Right, and then we have got, oh my god, we've got the arcane bullshit. It's not really a tarot, it's not an oracle, it's a whole load of cards of completely mad things, which was bought for me by a non-woo-woo friend called Dave, and I love it dearly. And one of these days I'm going to do a mad reading with it, but it might take quite a lot of red wine, but I do love it. It probably belongs in here, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll stick it in there. I tell you what, we'll put it on top of the Runic Tarot. There we go. That's good. That Tetrises a bit. Woo, look at me go. Right. Oh, now, in terms of things that speak to my heart, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot by Benable Wen, who is like my favourite tarot writer ever. She's clever, she's accessible, she's insightful, and my word does she know her onions. And I saw previous iterations of this tarot come and go and could never really afford a deck. And then when she finally put it into kind of large scale production, I said, that's it, I'm going to have it. And it was not the cheapest deck I've ever bought, I'll be honest, but I love it so much. And the supplementary, I've got to show you the supplementary materials that go with it. You know, little white book, they tell you, little white book. These are the little white book for the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. You need to be a weightlifter, but they are so good. I mean, they're not quite the little white book. This is a workbook that you can go through, which I am going through. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to put Spirit Keepers up here with the Lenormand, because that's something that I want to be working with on a daily basis. So I'm going to put that up there out of the way. I've got quite a lot of books down here that in my mind I thought I was going to be able to fit on here, but actually I don't think I am. Ho-hum, such is life. Right, and let's look. I've got a whole load of things that I put into boxes, into wooden boxes, because I didn't like their original boxes. And so we will see what we've got down here. So this is the John and Caitlin Matthews Druid Crafts deck, which is gorgeous, but it's a little bit big. It's just a bit too big for my hands, so I don't always reach for that as the first thing. But so I'll put it down there because it deserves to be worked with, because it's glorious and beautiful and I love it. And on top of that, if we're going in size, I have got here, this is the Golden Tarot, which is like all medieval imagery. So I'm going to put that there. So you can tell I do burn my own boxes on occasion. Over here, oh, there we go. This is my current favourite, which is the Slavic Legends, Slavic Folklore. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but oh, look at that for artwork. I love it so much. I've been working with this one a lot. That's why it's got the ribbon around it, because it makes it easy to lift in and out without damaging it. So I work with that a lot. I'm tempted to actually put that up there because I work with it so much, see if there's space for it. And here I've got my old favourite Gilded Tarot, Cira Marchetti. And I believe this is the Deborah Blake's Everyday Witch, which actually I'm going to put down there. And then I've got the Heartwood Tarot, which is really sweet. And will that fit? Oh, it won't quite fit on there. If I put that there, that will fit there. And what was this? Ah, that's my Rider-Waite-Smith, my plain Rider-Waite-Smith deck that can go there. And then the only other thing I've got left over is my Cira Marchetti Kipper deck. Anybody else use a Kipper deck? I've never really used it as such. I ought to, but I just never quite got round to it. So that one can kind of like slide in the side there. And that, I think, is pretty good. One thing I will say before I go, though, I'm going to have to end up putting these books onto a different shelf because there is not room here for it. But while I remember, you know, I did the little thing, the little spirituality thing about the terrible, terrible witchcraft set they were selling. Well, I picked up at the same time their tarot one, and I thought I was going to hate it, and I bought it to take it to bits. And you know what? It's actually not bad. It's actually for $4.99, I think. It's a really good way to get a usable set of starter tarot cards. So if you happen to be in Lidl and you still see it and you want a starter set, honestly, for $5, I kind of recommend it. It's not bad at all. So I'm going to find some space for that and get my books put somewhere safe. And yeah, that's that. So I'll show you how I did next week on getting everything else organised. Thank you for joining me. Bye.